Hello folks, you're watching The Inner Gamer and I'm Charlie Smith. E3 is quickly fleeting, but I'm here to talk to you today about my favorite top 5 games featured at E3 that will be coming out this year. I would also like to mention games such as Cuphead, which I'm looking forward to, as well as South Park's The Fractured But Whole. Also, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which our very own Brett Yanofsky wrote a series of articles detailing his adventures and misadventures in that game on PC. Really looking forward to that stuff. So, to begin, at number 5, we have Crackdown 3. Players get to take on the role of agents, superpowered law enforcement badasses. You basically get to jump over buildings, punch the living daylights out of dudes. Also, you pick up cars and throw them. It's zany and it's awesome. The game features 4-player co-op, so you and 3 other friends will be able to take down a shady business conglomerate called Terra Nova. You basically break down their criminal organization one mini-boss at a time. Now, the fun part about the multiplayer mode is that the entire environment will be completely destructible. This means that the game type will basically be you and your friends have one tower, and the other team has their tower, and you're supposed to destroy their tower before they destroy your tower. So the whole thing is gonna be like a 20 to 30 minute battle of just blowing shit up, and it's gonna be awesome. Number 4 on my list is Assassin's Creed Origins. The release date is set for October 27th, and the game takes place 1,000 years before the events of Altair. Players will play as the protagonist Bayek, who is a Medjay, which has been described as a sort of Egyptian sheriff, which I think sounds really cool. Assassin's Creed Origins plays just like all of the previous titles, with some updates. Eagle Vision has been replaced by an actual eagle that acts as a drone. I'm pretty excited for the fact that this time around, Assassin's Creed Origins features some RPG-like elements, such as picking up loot, which loot is always awesome, as well as a skill tree. The skill trees focus on things generally just like archery, combat, and stealth. I'm also pretty excited about the combat in Assassin's Creed Origins. Previous titles had the player focusing on a counter-attack system, where enemies would come at you and you just counter their attacks and then kill them. So combat was fairly simple and not exactly challenging. This time around, the protagonist Bayek focuses on swift dodging moves. You can also use your new bow and arrow in close quarters combat. So the combat seems like it'll be a lot fresher this time around. Number 3 on my list is Middle-earth: Shadow of War. I'm super excited for this one. Releasing on October 10th of this year, Shadow of War is a bigger and better version of Shadow of Mordor. The same awesome, great playing style that was basically the Middle-earth version of Batman is coming back again, and this time players will be able to take on the mantle of Talion and Celebrimbor, but this time to build an army to take on Sauron. Players will be able to capture commanders and put them in charge of their army for big siege battles. The commanders will have special abilities such as, an attack unit or maybe a defensive unit, a poison unit. There can be units that will take out siege weaponry. You'll be able to also participate in these battles, and I hear it gets really crazy. So the combat is going to be just as fluid and fast with the counterattacks and the vaulting over enemies. I also saw that the orcs this time, while they were really great in Shadow of Mordor, in Shadow of War, the orcs seem to have a lot more character. They really seem like they're just fleshed out more fully, and they're no longer just stupid, filthy orcs, but they're actual characters that the character can really get into and have a lot of fun with. Really building on a story that is already, I feel, gonna be just awesome. Coming in hot at number 2 on my list is Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom, and I am on fire about this game, which the series is basically a Studio Ghibli-style animated RPG that, God, the first one was just so good. Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom, is coming out on November 10th. The player will be playing as the protagonist, King Evan Pettywhisker Tildrum, King of Ding Dong Dell, who has had his throne taken away from him in a coup and must reclaim it. The first game, Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch, featured JRPG-style combat focusing on your familiars, but Ni no Kuni 2: Revenant Kingdom will be focusing on a more action-based style of combat, much like Kingdom Hearts. The player will switch between melee and long-range melee attacks while guarding and dodging defensively. Players, instead of having familiars this time around, will have these little tiny creatures called higgledies. I know, it's a weird name, but I'm sure it'll grow on everybody. Higgledies are basically these tiny little creatures that roam around in groups of what looks like 20 to 30, and they have unique abilities, such as green Higgledies will provide healing bonuses, whereas red Higgledies provide fire resistance. I really imagine that it'll create this huge, vibrant world, much like Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, that'll just suck you in and just keep you super entertained with the beautiful animation. The game looks amazing, just like the last one, but this time with better graphics, maybe even bigger worlds. I'm super stoked about it. And last, but certainly not least, coming in at number 1 of my top 5 games featured at E3 this year, coming out in 2017, Super Mario Odyssey. This time around, Mario has a magical hat named Cappy that befriends him and helps him on his journey to what I believe is most likely going to be, once again, saving Princess Peach from that dickhead Bowser. Cappy, which will be able to be thrown by Mario like a disc or a frisbee, will be used as a weapon, a coin collector, a puzzle-solving device, and can also capture enemies. Mario basically throws his hat at certain enemies, and he becomes the form of that enemy, but with a mustache. The game looks amazing with these huge open worlds that the player will be experimenting with in order to unlock their mysteries and progress through the stories. Players will once again be able to enjoy the great Super Mario gameplay that we've all come to know and love, with all of the flips and the somersaults and the long jumps. The worlds themselves will change based on circumstances. For instance, the desert world starts off being frozen, but eventually Mario does a certain thing that kind of breaks the spell over that world, allowing for different varied style of play, along with the ability to capture enemies and take on their abilities. There's just so much that you can do in this game. There's nothing like a Mario game. I mean, Super Mario 64 really paved the way for modern video games, and they're still capitalizing on their own ingenuity and genius, and they're kicking ass with it. So with all of that combined, I'm really looking forward to Super Mario Odyssey. It definitely deserves its spot at number 1 on my list. So there you have it, my top 5 games that were featured at E3 this year, coming out in 2017. What are your top 5? Tell us below in the comments. And make sure to also subscribe and check out theinnergamer.net for articles and podcast episodes. This is The Inner Gamer, and I'm Charlie Smith. Thanks for watching. And I'm here to talk to you about my 5 top favorite games. Top favorite. I got the favorite games. And it's been a rough morning. The best part about Chipotle is you get to see it twice. Oh, I got distracted by a fly. Shit. No, it was just a tiny gnat, but it was just like, this thing's so bright, so it was just like... Yeah. The game features 4-player co-op, so you and a bunch of buddies can go around just smashing dudes. That sounds super gay. Just smash some buttholes. It's a call. Let's pickle. So long, gay Bowser. Wait for the baddies to come at you, and then boing whip, just knock them the fuck out.